You can now follow me on all my social media platforms to find out who my latest guest will be. And don't forget to click the subscribe button and the notifications button so you're notified for when my next podcast goes live.
I started playing for Liverpool schoolboys then, playing against like Salford, Manchester schoolboys. I had a great nemesis, called a nemesis, Ryan Giggs. Ryan Giggs played for Salford. At the time, I was a right midfielder, so he was a left midfielder, so me and him a clash. I played against Liverpool loads of times, B team, A team, U team, reserves. I'd never been beat off them. I hated them, you know what I mean? It was more than a footy game. It was always more than a football game. My life changed after that derby to like superstardom. I was fucking like one of the Beatles in the end, you know what I mean? Walking around the city and everyone wanted a bit of me, and I loved it, James. I loved everything about being a professional footballer. And then absolutely loved it, mate. I loved the fame. I loved everything about it. Most importantly, I was playing for Everton. I was playing for Everton's first team. It was my wildest dream come true. So you can imagine. I can remember it Friday, and I woke up the next day feeling fucking rough as fuck. I thought never again with that. It just wasn't me, you know what I mean? I was just into fitness. I remember waking up rough as fuck. And then I'd have to go into Belfield to get treatment because of my injuries. And then it just snowballed from there, James. That was only about 6-7 months after that derby game all this was happening. That's how quick I lost the plot. That's how quick I went from hero to zero with the drinking and the depression and the drugs and that. Was because I'd just come out of rehab and he was telling me all about this. One's too many, 1,000's never enough. But I thought I'll be alright, a couple of fucking bevies, you know what I mean? There you go. I had that one drink, and I tell you what, mate, 1,000 wasn't enough. Because from there, I just went down the same slope. Before it goes any further, I'm retiring. How about that? To myself. I thought, you fucked it again. You're doing everyone's head in around you, me family, everyone who cares about me. So do you know what, lad? I'm retiring. And I did. I retired. I was 21.
Boom, we're on.
Yes, Jimmy.
Yes, Billy
Let's
boy.
do it, lad.
Yes, and today's guest,
Yes.
we've got Billy Kenny. How are you, Bill?
Thanks, mate. I'm sound, James. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great to have you on. Like, I know you're very well known down this neck of the woods, Liverpool. Everton superstar came through the ranks, 19, man of the match against Liverpool, running a mock in the Premier League. And over the last 30 years, you've kind of went missing.
Absolutely missing. Absolutely around the bend. Yeah, playing for Everton, living in the city. It's a great experience, James, to be honest. When I first started, it's all I dreamt about was playing for Everton as all the way growing up in Burlington Street off Scotland Road there. So it was mad growing up in Liverpool. It was either Liverpool or Everton, you know what I mean? Everyone supporters. Most of them are Liverpool supporters, to be honest, but it was a great time, mate, playing with me mates, dreaming. I just all go to bed and dream about the same dream every single night was to beat Liverpool in the Merseyside derby. I couldn't dream of nothing else. Every time I closed my eyes, same dream. Open up one day, I'd run out there, I could or something, and face Liverpool. Because at the time, growing up in the 80s and that, I mean, Liverpool were brilliant, you know what I mean? They were winning everything, and it used to kill me, man. I used to think to myself, maybe one day I'll be able to sort it out, you know what I mean? Do something, help Everton, help the fans, beat this Liverpool. And my dream come true. James. The highlight of my life, playing again in the Merseyside derby. I played in 2 Merseyside derbies, but the one I get noticed for was the one that we won.
2-1.
We won 2-1. Great night. I watched the game the other night myself, first time in 20 years. It was a great game, mate. Mm-hmm. It was a really great game. So yeah, that was it. That was my dream.
Your dreams come true,
my dreams come true. I worked so hard, James. I had to sacrifice a lot to make it, to play for Everton in the first team, was a lot of hard work went into it. All my life, trained really hard. I was training with all the boxers around the city, getting myself in tip-top shape and that, and it happened for me. It was a great time in my life.
At your start of your career, everybody was talking about you as a next young prospect who then not just take Everton, but England. Like, you were potentially becoming the next big superstar. Then you had an injury, you went through your addiction problems, and over the last 30 years, you've kind of battled with addiction, which we'll touch on. You retired kind of at 21, but before we get into all that, let's go right back to the start, Bill. Right, just go through your life, where you grew up and how it all began.
Well, I grew up in a little shoplifting village in the middle of Scotland Road and Vauxhall Road called Burlington Street. I mean, if you wasn't watching football or playing football, you're more than likely shoplifting, you know what I mean? Because we were like right next to the city centre, and like, I mean, great people from that area, they wouldn't like rob off anyone out of your houses or nothing like that. I'm not talking them sort of robbers. They just go to town and like, because in the 80s as well, everyone was skint. It was, you had to fucking feed yourself, or you wanted to take your girl out the pitches or something. There was nothing else to do. You'd either play footy or went and shoplift, you know. So yeah, I used to run around as far back as I can remember. There must have been about 7, James, keeping the ball up and now barely. And my dad played for Everton. My dad was a great player. My dad, he played for Everton in the 70s with Kendall and Harvey and all you know, the managers who I was going to play under. But my dad played in that team, and so he used to like give me like all little tezzers, go and keep 10 up, go and keep the ball up for 10, and I'd be there all day keeping the ball up, and give us a shout when you've done that, you know what I mean? So I'd do 10 all day, about fucking 7 I was. Go in, Dad, I've done 10. Good lad, go and do 20. I think he used to just do that now to keep me out of trouble, you know what I mean? So we've done that, and I can remember getting all my little mates together out the streets. See in Burlington Street, it was like, well, I watched all the old stuff about Glasgow. It was like the Gorbals, Burlington Street, no, just big tenements, hundreds of them, all families everywhere, big round block it was. And I thought to myself, I wonder whether I could keep the ball up. I'm about 9, 8, 9, all the way round. I remember the summer holidays, I thought to myself, said to me little mate, little Leah, said, come with us, lad, I want to see if I can keep the ball up right the way around Burley. And I said, oh, you're fucking messing around here. It was a big, massive Burley, it was like the size of Wembley, you know what I mean, going to the outside. So we did, started keeping the ball up and down, and I'd get halfway round, I'd drop it, I'd have to run all the way back up, and I wouldn't stop until I'd done it, you know what I mean. It took me all summer holidays. And I remember doing it, mate, all my mates, all shouting, all egging me on, trying to put me off all this, that and the other. I'm on the home straight now, going up Burley. Oh, keeping the ball up, and being all over the road 100 times, dropping it, going back, and I eventually done it, mate. And I got to the top, volleyed the ball into the air. I thought, it was right, Billy boy, you've done it, you know what I mean? I was buzzing, I ran all the way back to ours with all my mates, because I knew my dad wouldn't believe me, you know what I mean? And I said, I've done it. And all he'd ever say to me, my dad, was, well done. And he'd give me something else to do then, you know what I mean? He'd say, what about your left foot? I haven't seen you using your left foot. Then he'd have me like hitting the ball against the wall, controlling it with my left foot, giving me all stuff like that. And then as I got to my dad was playing for a local team then called the Barretts FC. My uncle Jobo, he was the manager. My dad played. Players like Ronnie Morgan, Bobby Boardman, this little stocky fella in the middle for me. Dad used to watch him, he used to go in for tackles. He was nasty on the pitch. And I thought, that's what I want to play like, you know what I mean? I want to be like him, I want to get stuck in. He was shouting, he was arguing, he was fighting for the ball, he was doing everything, and I was looking at me dad. My dad was very clever on the ball and stuff like that. So I'd always be watching them. And as I got to about 10, 11, I started going to the five-a-side. With my dad's team, James, and my dad's team, he used to have training on a Tuesday in one of the local schools in St. Bridget's School by Scotland Road there, on a Tuesday night with his team. And it's always like, it's a game, you know what I mean? You're too young, get up there on the wall bars, the wall bars in the gym. I'd have to sit up there, and he just used to say, just watch and learn, and look how we like keep the ball, and it's not all about scoring, Bill. You've got to go back with your runners anyway. I was watching for ages, couldn't get a game with them, and I can always remember my Uncle Jobo twisted his ankle in the gym. There was no one else to go on. So my dad shouted me on. Yeah, you're on theirs. So then I'd be like, thinking I could do what I was doing with my own age in the school, fucking taking everyone on. Well, it wasn't like that playing with my dad and that. He just shepherd you in the corner, take the ball off you. And my dad would always shout at me, fucking do it easy, play it easy, you're trying to dribble this, that, and the other. I'd be welling up, me. I'd be fucking crying, fuming, thinking, fucking talking to, making a cunt to me. I was only a kid. So I'd get home and I'd tell me, man, he's been fucking shouting at me in the gym. She'd be on him. There'd be a little bit of fucking murder in the house, you know what I mean, over me. But this thing, and I'd say to my dad, I'm not going no more. Go and get someone else to go. And the next time someone goes off, go and find someone else, all that. And then he'd talk to me, then he'd go, lad, I'm not getting on your back. I just, you need to play the game properly, because if you want to be a footy player, and so then I kept going and that with my dad, kept getting more time, and then in the end I was sort of a regular in the five side on a Tuesday. It was only 11. My dad, all the ex-pros playing with my dad. It was a good standard and a different game of football. It was hard. It was a proper way out of playing. It wasn't like playing in the street with my mates. It was another level. It was a big level, like in terms of keeping the ball. He'd say, keep the ball, do it easy, go with your runners. I can remember it being really hard work for me, you know what I mean? Like chasing runners. It wasn't the football I'd been used to. I just didn't know whether I liked this hard work. I didn't even know football was that hard. It wasn't enjoyable again. It was proper hard work, you know what I mean? But I kept at it, James, and I was playing for the local youth club at the time, Titfield Street. My Uncle Tubey used to drag us like our little Johnny and my cousin Tony. There was only a few Evertonians. We used to have a little Everton team, and he'd bring us to all the other youth clubs in our Merseyside, Liverpool, and we'd get the final, we'd win the odd cup and all that. We were only a small team and that. And the Merseyside Police five-a-side up on Madder Avenue as well. We went up there, we won that. And then when I was about 12, we were moving from Scotland Road, so we were moving up to by Anfield, right by Liverpool's grounds, on Mare Lane there, and City had folded. It was getting knocked down, Burlington Street and the youth club, it was all getting demolished at the time, so we moved away. And then Tubey brought me, said, there's a good team there who were training called the Four Swallows, why don't you go along and join in with them? They're a good team and that, this, that and the other. They've been going for a year. They've won a couple of cups. So I went along to the training and started training with them. I was always a bit chubby, mate. As a kid and that, chubby, and like I found it a bit hard now, because like with my fitness and that, because I was carrying a bit of weight, this, that and the other, and I signed for the Four Swallows. I met my mate Tobo, and they're all great players. Great manager, John Bly. It was a proper football and set up and that, and we were dead successful. We won, I think we won 15 trophies once in 1 year and that. And then from there, I joined. I ended up going to the Campion High School, but I didn't want to go to Campion. Why? It was an all-boys school, and there was rumours, in the 80s, it's full of faggots in there and gay people. It's not like, the way like it was in the 80s. Obviously there's nothing wrong with any gay people. They're just normal people, aren't they? But in the 80s, it was a big thing, and then like all my mates from my junior school were going to St. Bridget's, the local school. So I said to my dad, I said, look, mates up, we're all going there. He said, you're not going to St. Bridget's? I said, what do you mean? He said, no. He said, that's a mixed school. He said, you're joking, aren't you? He said, you won't get picked for any Liverpool schoolboys. My dad played for Liverpool schoolboys as well. He said, they won't pick you. He said, or everyone fucks about in the mixed schools, Bill. They don't even have good like PE lessons or good footy school teams, or it's shy for sports lads and all that. But I wanted to go, you know what I mean? I just all my mates were going there. And so for the first week, I sacked school for my first week. Didn't go in. Camping, I was just walking around town. Robbing the Al past the RSAs and that, you know what I mean? Just meeting downtown. Just didn't want to go into this camping school, right? Because of what I did and all the rumours and all my mates were going to the other school. Where everyone else in Burlington Street went to this school. My sisters went. My cousin Darren went. Everyone went to this school. But I couldn't go. My dad wouldn't let me. So after a week of sagging and that, I've gone home one day. My dad says, doesn't your new school give you any homework, you know what I mean? I said, I know, I've only been in there a week. He said, you're lying, can't you? You know, you haven't even been in and that. So that was it. It was on top. He said, I've got to bring you to camping on Monday, you little thing. Get up in your room and all that. So Monday coming and he brought me down to camping. I met the headmaster. And the headmaster's like, saying to me, like, you know, you'll enjoy it and it's great for sport. He said, I've heard you're good at football and that, and you want to play football and that. He said, well, you're in the right place. He said, listen to your dad and stuff like that. And then after he walked me over to me form class then, my new form class. And because of being off for the first week, yeah, everyone was like all matey. There was little firms of lads here all there, all knew each other. And I felt I hadn't been in, I didn't know anyone. And I was the only one from Burlington Street going to this camping school. They all went to St. Bridges where I wanted to go. But so I'm in there anyway. And I've gone in the form class and then I met all my new mates then. Joe Bago, great lads from Stanley Road, all his firm kids there. Passed away now, kids. He's Joe's, my best mates, these lads. Passed away, kids, a couple of years ago. God bless them. And I met all them, and then, you know, started cracking on. Didn't feel ashamed anymore. I thought, you know, what's everyone been going on about? It's a great school. I just settled in dead quick. My new mates were there. Wasn't long. I was doing great at the new Sunday League team, the Four Swallows. We were winning all kinds, and then the school team come about. And they were right again. It was a great setup. It was great for sports and camping school. My dad was right again. Gets in the school team. We had some great players in there. All went to clubs, professional clubs. John Doolan, a great mate of mine. And Drew Hazal fella who helped me a lot. He used to bring me and my dad to all the Liverpool schoolboys games. He used to pick us up every week. And I started playing for Liverpool schoolboys then. Playing against like Salford, Manchester schoolboys. I had a great nemesis, called a nemesis, Ryan Giggs. Ryan Giggs played for Salford. At the time, I was a right midfielder, so he was a left midfielder, so me and him would clash. And it'd always be Salford boys, Liverpool boys in the finals, semi-finals, so me and him would clash. And if you were to ask him today and say who's the toughest player you probably played against, he'd probably say me. Because I was not being funny, I used to kick him like nobody's business, you know, and he's the most decorated player in English football, and I know why. You know what I'm saying? Ryan Giggs, for me, he was just unbelievable, but he brought the best out of me as well, you know what I mean? I'd always have a boss game. It's weird, he'd have a boss game for them, and I'd have a boss game for me, but yet we were marking each other. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's just, I've never, like, come up against a player like him since, in all the games, even for Everton's first team. So Liverpool boys, same thing. We were going on taking me away to Ireland and stuff. My first time I go away as a footballer. We go to Ireland. We went to France. I got played the tournaments in France with Liverpool schoolboys, and there was some boss French teams there as well. You know, I got played the tournament. Lovely big trophy I got from there. And while you are playing for Liverpool schoolboys, that's when you're getting noticed. I wasn't taking myself serious. I was just having these dreams. They were wild dreams, James, for me to play. Wildest dreams ever playing for Everton. That was, every time I shut my eyes, it's same dream. But at the time, being 14, you still only know it's a dream. It's a million miles away for you. I didn't think I'd actually do it because, one, for me, weight. I'll tell you how I lost the weight in a minute, but it was just a big crazy dream. But from playing for Liverpool schoolboys, I had all the scouts coming in and I was doing well. And as I said to you earlier before, I always thought coming off the pitch, I could always do better than everyone. Oh, you're brilliant, Billy. I was in the local papers, Billy. I'd always score a couple, set a couple up. It was great. And then all the scouts from all the different clubs were coming in for me then. It was getting a bit serious then. Like Man United were in there, Liverpool, Everton. They were all there, Oldham scouts. Hundreds of scouts waiting for me after the game all the time. Me and my dad were like that, you know what I mean? What's going on here? So I had a little inkling then, being around about 14, that I was a good player. I believed in myself. Then that's when the penny dropped, like, because of all these scouts coming, phoning the house, waiting for me after the game on Penny Lane and all that, turning up with all new boots for me, coats, everything, trying to sign me. But my dad said, look, you're signing for no one yet. You're 14. You're too young. I just wanted to fucking sign for anyone. I wanted to sign for someone. I wanted to sign for someone, you know what I mean? So I can go and tell him, no. So we go round all. I've been in to see Kenny Dalglish. Me and my dad went into to Anfield to speak to Kenny Dalglish. They offered me a great deal, Liverpool. I loved it. I started going to Liverpool on a Tuesday night. So what had happened is I'd go and train with Everton on a Monday, Liverpool on a Tuesday, Everton on a Wednesday, and back to Melwood on a Thursday. And I'd be training. I loved it at Liverpool. I used to hate them growing up. I hated everything about them. Because like when I was growing up in Burley, I'd have loads of fights playing the Liverpool lads, and we used to have little games, it'd be mad and all that. So really, I hated them. I didn't know what I hated about them. Because when I got to Liverpool, like Dalglish, Phil Thompson, Sammy Lee, little John Benno, he's not with us no more. People like that, good people, you know what I mean? I used to think, I used to hate you, you know what I mean? But I didn't. It was just growing up. It was just the Liverpool Everton thing. And I loved it at Liverpool, James. I really loved it. They didn't half look after me, Liverpool. They took me on, remember when they got beat off Wimbledon?
Yeah.
Vinnie Jones and all that. Well, I travelled with the first team on the coach of Liverpool.
What age were you?
I was 15 then. I travelled downstairs in the hotel with me Liverpool trackie on. Don't be telling anyone about that as well. Sorry about that, the Blues, but I had the Liverpool trackie on. I was with the squad and all that. Proper looked after me. Sees me mate Joe outside, Bogo, giving me ticket because I was with the lads, you know what I mean? I didn't need a ticket, but I give Joe me ticket. His mate, he's been following me football. He used to go to all the games and home and away, all over the world, Joe. Tony. There's a couple of them who followed me everywhere, and then in the summertime, I spent 6 weeks at Man United. Stayed in digs up there at Man United. Same again, looked after me, offered me a great deal. It was time to make my mind up now. I'm leaving school. It was time to sign for someone, you know. But I think the football people and everyone connected around Liverpool and Merseyside football at the time knew I was a mad Evertonian. My dad played. I was a mad Evertonian. The dreams, the lot, it just all made sense. So I signed for Everton, James. Mates. And after say goodbye to Liverpool and Man United and clubs like that, I just wanted to play for Everton. It was as simple as that. I was dreaming about them. My dad played, as I said.
Was that an easy decision for you? Was Ferguson, he would have been in charge at Man U at that time,
Alex Ferguson, my dad went up, seeing him. He offered me a great, well, to be honest with you, I got the worst deal off Everton. Liverpool, what was it? They offered me a year. I had to do a year YTS with them and then a 3-year professional contract. Same at Man United. They offered me 3 years, bit of security, you know what I mean, for yourself. Everton, I had to do a full 2-year YTS. This was in the contract, and a year on 1 year pro. So they knew, because my family are ready and all that. I'd go up, to Belfield on a Saturday when I'd be playing for the A team or the B team when I was really young, and they go, Billy loves Everton, that's it, he won't sign for no one. Everyone knew, you know what I mean? But
do you think they used that as used you being a big Everton fan to then fuck you for the contract?
Absolutely. And I had no special treatment at Everton. I never seen Howard Kendall. I was getting dealt with by the youth development officer called Graham Smith. He's lovely, Graham Smith. He was a top man. And you wouldn't see Kendall or Harvey. The kids were always kept away from the first team. You wouldn't see none of that. And like the way I was at Liverpool and Dalglish called me into the Anfield to give me a brand new pair of boots, sat me and my dad down for an hour. The same with Alex Ferguson. But at Everton, there was no Howard Kennel. I don't know where he was, but I went through a science with the youth development officer, you know what I mean? So they probably already knew, yeah, that like I wasn't going to sign for anyone else, you know.
Your dad seemed a sensible man as well, that try to guide you the right way. Did he not try and put the blockers on it? Is it because his loyalty was with Everton, he just went with the agreement?
My dad himself, I'd always wanted to. He must have knew my dad. My dad didn't really get in the way of anything like that. You know what I mean? He just rode with it because I was going to sign for Everton. Nothing was going to stop me. He didn't say. But to be honest, my dad wanted me to sign for a lower league club, someone like Oldham or Bury. I can remember Bury being in as well. A little club like that. He said I'd have a better chance now making it in the first team. But I knew myself. I just knew I had this thing inside me, and nothing was going to stop me from making it, no matter what club I was at. You know what I mean, James? Yeah. I just had this burning desire.
Was there a lot of hype before you made the first team debut from yourself?
There was. It's always put the pressure on myself, but I love pressure. I've always loved the pressure, especially on the pitch. You know what I mean? Where I do my stuff. I mean, I'm more fucking terrified now doing this. But I'm playing football. You know what I mean, lads? I could go out and play in front of 50,000 every week, but sitting here with you, it's quite nerve-wracking. But no, there was never any pressure on me. It was always off other people. I was getting told, and there was rumours going around. He's going to make it. Whatever that means, making the grade. I don't know. I've never known what that means. Like, it was just a game of football to me. You know what I mean, Jay? No matter, football's where I'm most comfortable. Whether there's 100,000, 1,000, super. I just love playing football. Don't care who for, how high the standard is, or what.
What was it like making your debut?
Making me debut, whatever. Oh my God, it was just that was the dream come true. It's surreal, man. I swear to you, James, it's surreal, mate. I think it was me. What was I going to say? Making me debut. Yeah, I've been in the reserves since I was about 16. Jimmy Gable used to play with players like Kevin Sheedy. They were like finishing the Everton careers then, and Kevin Ratcliffe, all the Everton legends. They were all like in the reserves now, waiting to like go to other clubs or getting laid off or whatever. Ours was getting new players in and all that. So I was lucky really to play with all these Everton legends in the reserves, and they helped me out a lot. Sheedy, he always plays with me in the middle there. Kevin Ratcliffe, he always plays with me. Who else? Oh, they was great players. Marcus Ebden, just all that. So I was sort of and I've been travelling with the first team, they take me away when I was 15, or get me used to hotels and how it all went. They must have knew themselves I was good enough to make it, whatever. So I sort of like, actually, I was sort of, it was nothing really, to be honest, because I've been in and around the first team since I was a kid. So when I actually made it, I think it was Coventry. I played a few pre-season games against Borussia Mönchengladbach. I've been on tour to Ireland with them before the season started. And I would start buying like players. I remember players coming in. Mick Milligan from Oldham, he paid £1 million for him. He paid 750 grand for Barry Orme from Southampton. And Neil MacDonald, I think he come from fucking Newcastle or somewhere. But they were all centre midfield. It's my position, you know what I mean? I thought, fucking hell, I've just signed for Everton. And now he's buying all these. So I wasn't happy. It was only 16, 17. I've gone now up to Howard's office, knocked on the door. He said, come in. I thought, fucking hell. I said, what can I do for you? I said, look, how come you're buying all these players? You know what I mean? Look at me, I'm only 16. He said, he started laughing. He said, sit down. I'm fucking made up. You've come up here. He said, look, don't be worrying. He said, you're doing fine. He said, I've bought these players in case anything happens to you. He said, these are going to be fighting to play with you. So I thought, oh, well, that's great then, you know what I mean? So I started the season. We played Coventry at home. We won 3-1, I think. And then I played the next game, and then I'm 7 games in, still in the first team. Couldn't believe it.
What's that feeling like for you?
Unbelievable. Coming from, I could hear all my mates in the stands shouting me. Honest to God, the crowd took to me, great, they're singing my name. I loved every minute of it, James, I really did, honest to God. So the big game, 7 games in, the Merseyside derby. Liverpool are flying, never forget it.
Who did they have? McManaman?
Barnes, McManaman, Redknapp, Hutchinson, Grobler, Steve Nicol, Mark Walters, who else? Mick Mars. He was strong. Liverpool have always been strong. It's tough playing against them, it really is. But if you let them play, you've just got to get stuck into them. So I played against Liverpool loads of time. B team, A team, U team, reserves. I've never been beat off them. I hated them, you know what I mean? It was more than a footy game. It was always more than a football game to me. I hated getting beat. It takes me days getting over it. These days, even playing for the school, playing for the Swallows, playing for Everton was no different. The thought of getting beat used to keep me awake at night, big time, honest to God, lads. Still today, if I go and play a game of footy, I don't care whether I'm playing with 3-year-old kids or 30, I'll kick anything, you know what I mean, still. So anyway, the big games come around. We're in the... we used to always go to the... it was a night game, that game. It was the first live Sky game on a Monday night, that derby game. And I remember we were in an hotel up the road, up the M62, called... what was the hotel called? The Lodgewood Mill. The Lodgewood Mill, it's called. It's off the M62 there. We're in there anyway. So we've been in Belfield in the morning, 9, 10. We've got on the coach, we've gone to the hotel. And we're having a bit of breakfast, pre-match meal and that. And we've gone for a walk. The team used to have your breakfast, then you go for a walk, no walker off. And I was in Colin have shouted me over. He said, you're playing tonight. I thought, shit. You know what I mean? But thinking this, right, I couldn't wait to get to the fucking room to phone me dad. I'm playing. All right, lads. My dad's nerves must have been gone. My dad was working at the time. He never even used to go to games to watch me. My dad, he only went a couple of games. He went that game, the derby game, that night with me mum. And that was the game that just sticks out in my mind. It was a great game anyway, but to actually beat Liverpool and the way we did coming back from 1-0 down, it was unbelievable, lads. Unbelievable feeling. I'll never ever. That was my dream. That was it. That was it. And then I played at I think I played the first 14 games of that season. And you see, because there was stuff in the papers, my dad played 12 games for Everton's first team. So I'd done a little side bet with my dad. He says, if you play more games than me, we'd have a little pound on it, you know what I mean? A fucking pound. It was 5 of them, man. But anyway, yeah, he'd still do things like that. We'd still have a little pound bet. I was on a few quid at the time. It was a little pound note, it would be, a little pound. And we'd have a bet and all that. So it's all right. So he said, if you play more first team games than me, well, I've done that in the first season. I played the first 14, James, and my legs started hurting me. I was in for the. They were killing me. There was no my feet were going numb. There was no circulation, and I was doing that much training. My calves were going massive, and the skin it was in, your muscles are in like a sausage skin, yeah, and the muscle was growing, but the skin wasn't. So I needed big operations and that. So I played 14 games. So I've been to see specialists about my legs. Yeah, you need operations. So there was, I think it was the last game of the season. We were playing Southampton away. I couldn't play. I've been told of this, you need an operation. The last game of the season. So Kendall phoned me. I'm in the house. I'm starting to get depressed now. You know what I mean? I've never been injured in my life. I've never been injured in all my life playing football. I'm in Everton's first team now, and I need a fucking operation, big operation now as well on my 2 legs. devastated. So I'm in the house and that, and the phone's gone. Billy, our Kendall on the phone. I said, all right, boss. He said, look, he said, I'm going to take you in the squad tomorrow. He said, why don't you come in and that? I said, I'm in the squad. He went, yeah, he said, I'll speak to you tomorrow. He said, we're leaving at 10 o'clock, Southampton, lad. Get all your, like, you're going away stuff and all that. So I thought, oh, that's all right, you know what I mean? At least I'm down with the lads and that. It was like, I missed it, you know what I mean? I was fucking, it's on my head, and it was just like, I was flying, and then the injuries, and then I was stuck in the house, all the team are going away. Well, anyway, he brought me with me. So he said, look, he's named me as sub. Howard's named me as sub, and I'm thinking, fuck, how the fuck am I sub? His boss, a lovely fella, that was on a proper fucking one of us, James, little proper scouser. He's sound, he loves scousers, and that, he's a belter. So I didn't realise in my contract, it was like, if I play 15 games or more, I get an extra 25 grand. That was in my contract. Well, I didn't know about that. I wasn't asked about my contract. I was just fucking flying, and I just signed the thing. And but that's what was in my contract. Now, I wouldn't have known about that. So what he done, Howard, was he waited for 2 minutes to go, put me on. I couldn't walk, I couldn't run from here to you. That's how bad my legs were. And I'm still not on it after the pitch. He said, do you know why I put his arm around me? I'm still thinking, why did he put me on? I couldn't run, Jamie. My legs were killing me. He said, you forgot to, he said, have you looked in your contract? I said, no. I said, no. He said, well, he said, that's your 15th game, that. He said, go and have a look in your contract, 25 grand. He put me on for 2 minutes.
That's
you know what I mean?
legend,
Yeah,
man.
he's done me a
Yeah,
right
good
favour
turn.
then. So, yeah.
What was that team like? Who was in it? Mo Johnston, Southall.
Yeah.
Who was in the Everton team that year?
Ian Snowden, Barry Orne, John Eberle, Neville Southall, Andy Hinchcliffe, Gary Ablett, Peter Beardsley.
Beardsley, man, he's a player.
Beardsley, unbelievable. I can remember the first day he come through the door in Belfield, man. Oh, the level went up, you know, was another level. It was great for me because I could play at that level, you know what I mean? What he was bringing to the table, you know. It was just, he just freshened the whole place up. He was a proper professional, mate. And every time you'd travel away with the Everton's first team, the first thing that would be on the coach would be the ale, the lager, the wine, nothing on the way home and that. But when Peter come, he changed all that. He started bringing a fucking big kit bag, a big Asics bag, big as the table there, full of like all your chicken foods and your waters. This is before anyone...
Nutrition and that kind of thing.
This is before anyone was even on it, big bags of fruit and that. We all laughed. Look at him bringing all this grand microwave chicken pasta, this, that and the other fruit, bottles of water. He just changed the whole thing, mate. And that's how it should have been from day one. But he was unbelievable. And as a fella as well as a person, Peter, he was just unbelievable, honest. And what a player.
Yeah.
What a player, man. Every morning in training, he'd just be doing stuff, you know. He was unbelievable, mate. Peter Beardsley, man. He's a good friend, yeah.
So see, after that season, Bill, what was the hype for you then? Was everybody saying this kid's going to be a superstar, he's the next big thing, after the 15 games you played?
Well, it was after the derby, really.
You get man of the match at derby?
Yeah, my life changed after that derby to like superstardom. I was fucking like one of the Beatles in the end, you know what I mean? Walking around the city and everyone wanted a bit of me, and I loved it, James. I loved everything about being a professional footballer. And then absolutely loved it, mate. I loved the fame. I loved everything about it. Most importantly, I was playing for Everton. I was playing for Everton's first team. It was my wildest dream come true. So you can imagine. And then it was them injuries that I was going on about before with my shin splints and my calves and that.
Was your contract still the same, the 2 years and then the extra year, or did you get a new contract?
No, they didn't. They scrapped the 2 years. They just give me a 3-year contract after my first year YTS because I've done well, you know what I mean. And I went upstairs right after that derby game. I went from £35 a week to like a few grand a week.
So you were only on 35 quid a week?
I was on £35 a week. As soon as the whistle went, I've gone in to get changed, and Howard said to me, you wanted upstairs, go on, congratulations. So I said, where am I going? He was like that, you know. Nothing was settling like United or Liverpool. Everything was up in the air 11. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah. So I said, well, what stairs am I going up to? So he's gone out, but he didn't even bring me up, you know. He just said, look, see the stairs there, go up to the director's room up there, big fucking room in Goodison. And I'm knocking, and I'm opening the door, there's no one in there. So I went back down, he said, did you do that? I said, there's no one up there. So he took me up, Howard, into the director's room. Here's all the directors, the chairman and all that. So after that game, from being on a little 35 quid a week, I was on a few grand then, you know what I mean? Oh, just literally, as soon as the whistle had gone. So I was on a like few quid then, straight after
Were
that.
you drinking or anything at that time, Bill?
Well, no. The drinking started. Well, do you know what? To be honest, James, all my mates and that were all going out. They were all going out 16, you know, as you do, 16, 17, 18. I didn't like drinking at all. I was just into my fitness. I was boxing training, I was playing for Everton. It didn't bother me. It didn't go out nowhere. Just proper fitness fanatic. And the girl who I was with at the time, she was a fitness instructor. So the drinking and all that, it didn't even come into it, nothing and all that. What happened was, when I got my operations, the specialist said, look, you won't be playing for 6 months. It's going to take bum and your rehabilitation. So I'm looking at 12 months. So I got depressed. I didn't know what depressed was then. I didn't understand. I didn't know what was going on. The feelings I was getting. I was just sad and down and fucking big scars in my legs. I have 50 stitches in that one, 50 stitches in that one, right down my shins, the two of them. On crutches, wheelchair, fucking. So anyway, I slipped into depression and started drinking. I started going out, only the night out, you know, and a few nights out, and now I went to State and all that. This nightclub everyone was raving about. I went there a few times. I can remember being in there with all my stitches in my legs, and I bumped into this like little fucking iron thing off the pillar and split all my stitches come out and all that. I done all that. And then I liked it. I liked the feeling. I liked the way it made me feel. The alcohol, it's sort of like I was always under pressure. I was under pressure and I was thinking, I'll never play again. I feel terrible. It was the first time I'd ever had an operation. I was putting weight on. I was getting depressed. I thought I'll never play for Everton again. All that it was all negative thoughts in my mind. The depression was going thicker and that. And then the only enjoyment I got was going out with my mates, and that I absolutely loved it. I'd never been out. I'm like about 19, now nearly 20. I'd never been out. I'd never had a bevy or nothing. Started going out with my mates, getting a few, there's always a few birds there and blah, blah, and then I can't even remember. Having my first line. I've always thought, when did you first start have your first line of coke? Well, I can't remember. I've tried to fucking think for years. Must have been, well, it was obviously while I was drunk, but I've never thought where it actually was. And I can remember I tried it, and I woke up the next day feeling fucking rough as fuck. I thought never again with that. It just wasn't me, you know what I mean? I was just into fitness. I remember waking up rough as fuck. And then I'd have to go into Belfield to get treatment because of my injuries. And then it just snowballed from there, James. I started going out more. I had a few quids. Started fucking getting all kinds of female attention off birds and whatnot, carrying on behind me birds back and that. And then it just went fucking from bad to worse. I was just out. Didn't give a fuck about it. I didn't want to play anymore, to be honest with you. I'd stay off work. I'd be staying off for 2 days, 3 days. I'd have Kendall on the phone, the club on the phone. Sometimes I wasn't even in the house when they were phoning. My dad would be looking everywhere for me, fucking me mad. He'd have the team out looking all over the place for me. I'd just be fucking in some gaff, wherever. Off me cake, didn't give a fuck what was going on in the world. It was just sort of running away from people and things and stuff, you know. I just wanted to be on my own. It was a terrible time. It was terrible time, mate.
Did you know at that time, in your mind, did you think you would get it back and play again, or were you just getting so far lost that there was no way out?
Well, yeah, I thought to myself, because he had it in the back of my mind, the doctor's saying 12 months, so I was thinking to myself, well, you've got 12 months to fuck about it, you
Free
know
pass.
what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And then I always thought to myself, you know, I'll get back. I've never been, I didn't realise how hard it is to get fit again once you've had an operation. It's fucking absolutely murder. You don't realise that. Well, I never anyway. I struggled. Because in this time, by the time I was supposed to be fit, I was a fucking mess, you know what I mean? I was staying off. And then the coaches, I can remember the coaches, Simon, he was running around Belfield, about fucking 3 minutes too late, no 1 o'clock, and then they're thinking, what's up with Billy? You know, he's gone from like, I was always the hardest trainer, I was always first or second in the race, you know what I mean? To come and last, couldn't breathe, thinking, what's up with him? What's up with him? Then the piss tests come in then. They wanted to have a piss test and that, and this, that, and the other. And I can remember it being a relief when I got found out, you know, because it didn't. Howard had me in. He had me in the office saying to me, you know, what's up? You're okay? And I had my chance to tell him then, look, I've been fucking snorting cocaine. I've been out. I've been this, that, and the other. But I lied to them. I told them I was depressed because of my injuries. And I wasn't travelling with the first team. I don't feel a part of it no more, and this, that, and the other. And he put his arm around me and all that. Said, look, got me back, tried to get me back and coming in with the first team and this, that, and the other. And then I was a bit far gone then. I was drunk all the time and fucking wasn't turning in and all that, and that's when the drug tests started coming in, and I got found out then. And what happened then? I went to the fucking, they sorted it out for me, Evan. They put me in a rehab.
What was that like?
Oh, it was terrifying, James. I was 19. 19 years of old. It was in Hale and Wimslow in Cheshire. Lovely place. The Priory Hospital it was. But it wasn't for me. It was for fucking like, it just wasn't for me. There was no sports psychology like there is now today. It was nothing like that. It was just like group therapy. And I'm sitting there with like old people, 70, 60, 50, who've been hiding bottles of scotch in the backyard and fucking vodka all over the house and all that. Well, that wasn't me, you know what I mean? And I'm saying to them, look, I think I'm in the wrong place here. This is not for me, this. Fucking hell, I only go out and have a couple of days on it and then a couple of days off it, you know, like binge drinking and all that. I didn't understand it all. It was the wrong place for me. Still even today, thinking back now, it was proper the wrong place. There was nothing there like for young sports people or nothing. Tony Adams ended up doing that thing, didn't he? Addict or something.
Yeah.
Addict.
With Charlie, he was on, yeah.
That's more like what I needed at the time, you know what I mean? There was none of that. So anyway, that was only about 6-7 months after that derby game, all this was happening. That's how quick I lost the plot. That's how quick I went from hero to zero with the drinking and the depression and the drugs and that. It was a terrible time. And
were you sniffing every day, Bill?
I was snorting coke every day. Every time the only time I wasn't snorting coke at that time was when I was asleep. Honest, it got that bad that I wasn't even going out. I was just getting the dealers to me Mars. Fucking having the dealer climbing up on the thingy to pass me, posting it when my ma and dad, all that was going on. While my ma and dad were in bed, I just locked myself in my room. 6 months I was in there. Didn't come out of my room.
What was your man and dad saying at the time? Because they must have started seeing telltale signs that something wasn't
they
right.
were up the wall with me, James. Honest to God, I've put them through fucking. It's my biggest depression. What about my mum and dad at the time? They're just a lovely couple. My man and dad. It wasn't no like shouting or my dad just wouldn't speak to me, and he was just devastated. My dad, you know, my dad couldn't even go out the house because he was getting asked about me. How's Billy? And he was sick of it, you know what I mean? Everywhere he went, so my dad even had to stay in for a couple of. My dad didn't bother going out. It affected him bad. Terrible, so selfish, and it kills me. It kills me now to think like what it like I've done, you know. Kills me, mate. Absolutely. So anyway,
That's the effects of addiction, though, Bill. That you've got to remember the memories you did give them. That any school kid, there's not many people get to walk through at Goodison Park and fucking get man of the match in a derby game. That's the problem with addiction. But for you to get an addiction at 19 years old shows you the power of the disease, the power of the escape.
It's absolutely
you're not the only one, mate.
It's absolutely horrendous, that addiction, mate.
See, when you try to get back, did the football teams and that know once you came out? How long did you do rehab for?
I'd done rehab and nursery. So what happens was I've gone to put me in the Priory Everton to get me all cleaned up and all that. But they'd sack me. They sacked me. Because what happens was Howard went to I think Howard retired, I'm not sure, or he went somewhere else. But anyway, this Mike Walker, he got the Everton job, the fella from Norwich. He got the job, and I'd been off for 2 weeks. Drinking and fucking carrying on like fucking George Best. Fucking Colin Harvey come the house, he phoned the house, he said, I'm picking you up in the morning, we've got to go and pick the new manager up, Mike Walker. He was staying in a hotel in the city centre. So we went and got Mike Walker in the morning, and like, I always remember him saying to me, look, Billy, he said, I can lead a horse to water, but I can't make it drink it. I'm thinking, what the fuck's he on about? You know that, James? Fucking daft as fuck. I couldn't get what he was going on about, to be honest with you. And like, he didn't know me as a person. He didn't know what I'd been through. I mean, anyone could see. I was 18. I was on fucking... I've just gone from there to there. Everyone could see something was up. You know what I mean? I'm fucking depressed to death. I was just waiting for a bit of help off someone. Never ever come. So he's the manager. He's come in as the manager. I trained for the first week. He was made up with me. I fucking put my heart and soul into it. But then, as I said, the whole addiction again. As soon as I started feeling all right, I started drinking again. So he didn't even give me one chance. He just had enough. He said, you've had enough chances, and sack me. That was it. Sack me, Mike Walker. So I was fucking devastated. Crying my eyes out. Goes home. So no matter I got in, there's a few Premier League teams and First Division teams and all phoning the house. They all wanted to sign me. I'm thinking, fucking hell. You know what I mean? So Terry Darracott, an Everton player, he was like youth development officer at Man City. He's phoned the house. All right, Billy, it's Terry. All right, Terry. He said, look, Man City, do you want to take you up there? So I thought, I played at Man City a few times for Everton reserves and that. Lovely little grounds and all that. I thought, it's a bit of me, that Man City, yeah, definitely. I said, Terry, fucking son. He said, well, look, I've been on the phone to Brian Norton there, and we're going to grab you in the morning, take you up to Manchester. And I said, I'm a training. He said, yeah, have you got your boots? I said, no, I've left them all. And he said, don't worry about it, we'll get your boots. I said, all right. So I'm waiting there. In the morning, I'm going to Man City. I was made up telling me, man, look, I've got, don't worry about it, Mum. I'm going to Man City now, girl. I'll sort it out. I'll get my head together. Don't worry about it. So I'm waiting for Terry to pick me up. The phone goes, Billy, it's Terry. He said, oh, you can't come to Man City. I said, why? What do you mean? He said, Everton won £1 million for you. I said, they've just sacked me, haven't they? He said, yeah, they still hold your registration. He said, can't do nothing, mate, and all that. Man, I was devastated. I thought, what the fuck? And then I'm starting to think then, oh, they must want me back, you know what I mean? You know, I knew I was going into this rehab and all that. So anyway, Colin Harvey was coming up and Paul Power to train me in the rehab in the Priory. So then Colin come up one morning. He said, I need to speak to you and all that. That's when he told me, he said, look, you're going to Oldham. I had no say in the matter, no signing on fee, but they're going to like give me the same couple of bob I've been getting at Everton. So it all made sense. He said, Joe Royal, he said, you'll love him. He's one of my best mates. This is Colin. I trusted Colin Harvey. Lovely fella, Colin. One of the best fellas in football for me. And he said, you'll love Joe, Bill. He said, honest to God, you couldn't be going to the better fucking club, honest to God, lad. So I said, sound, Oldham as this then. I just wanted to get back playing. They were in the another lower division, but they had a great ground, great fan base. And I went up there, Joe Royal picking me up my last day in the rehab, and I flew to Oslo with him to meet the first team. They were already there. It's a good chat with Joe, and I loved him straight away. Looked after me. I ended up buying a house in Oldham. I went up there, bought an house in Oldham. Right at the top of Barnsley thing, me and my bird, the bird who was with at the time, she's so I've been in the rehab, been in Oldham, I was doing well, was getting man the matches up there. Me and my bird had bought an house and that, nice house and that. She even got a work change from Liverpool up to Oldham. She worked for BT at the time, the bird I was with. And that lasted about a year. Stayed sober for a year, doing dead well. Oh man, there was this fucking boozer. There was this pub, James. It must have been the oldest pub in Great Britain. I know the oldest pub in Great Britain's in Glasgow, isn't it? Because I've been outside that little hole in the wall, being there. There's not many fucking boozers you haven't been, to be honest. But anyway, listen, this fucking pub, I think it was called the White Horse or something. That's how old it was, stinking. And for some reason, lads, every time I pull into my estate, I clock this booze. I didn't even know whether it was open. This is addiction for you. It's playing on my mind. You've done well now. You're back on your feet. Go and have a pint. This is what the old thing on the shoulders telling me. And I'm having murder with myself every day. You can't. You're going to throw all this away. And all the people who fucking helped you build your mum and dad. I'm talking to myself out loud all the time. Worries about like my mum and dad, and I can't put my family through this again, mate. There's not a chance. I had battles with it, James, for about fucking hell, for a good couple of months anyway. I can always remember me bear going back to Liverpool. She was going to stay in the Mars one night, and I thought, right, bang, there it is. There's me back on my head then. Well, she's gone, go and have a few pints, you know what I mean? Just that. So I went in after this, she's gone back home to stay in the Mars for the night. I flew round and fucking couldn't wait for it to go. I flew round the boozer, haven't I? Ordered a pint. The only person in there. The worst pub in the fucking world. The pint looked horrible and everything. And I sat there. We go like that with the Alpine, get all the froth off. I messed around with it for about a good 20 minutes before he had to drop. I was shaking. I knew I was relapsing, you know what I mean? Because I'd just come out of the rehab and he was telling me all about this. One's too many, 1,000's never enough. But I thought, I'll be all right. Couple of fucking bevies, you know what I mean? There you go. I had that one drink. And I tell you what, mate, 1,000 wasn't enough. Because from there, I just went down the same slope. Quicker.
Faster, yeah.
Quicker this time. Bang.
Bigger depression as well, because you're fucked
up. So, I mean, and then I can always remember going in, because Graham Sharp had just got the manager's job then at Oldham, and he was a boss mate of mine. Colin Harvey had just come from Everton to be Sharpie's number 2. So, and I like Stuart Barlow, Neil Moore, Ian Snowden, loads of Everton players come to Oldham. It was just like being in Belfield, if you like. There was loads of us. There was me, Sharpie, Neil Poynton, Snods, Neil Moore, Stewie Barlow, Steve Redmond, all scouts as well, you know what I mean? Nick Henry. As a new house at the fucking lot, lads. I lost it all again. Everything again, same thing. House, bed, back around Liverpool, fucking snorting coke, looking everywhere for it. Staying up, wasn't going up to training. Didn't go to my house for about 2 months. Didn't go finish with her. And I'd go up to my house, and remember them old phones with the little tape recorders in? And I'd press play all the time. I'd be Sharpie in the Scottish accent. Pal, come in, pal. You know what I mean? I'd stay at all that. Me and Nick Henry had a good relationship in the middle, and we were doing well at Oldham as well at the time. And it was just that relapse again, having that one bevy again, taking my eye off the ball, thinking you could do it all and forgetting about what I've been through. Selfish again, addiction again for you. And just bang right back on that slope. Couldn't believe it, mate. Absolutely couldn't believe it. And I can remember Sharpie and Colin fucking, he wasn't happy with me and that. And I thought to myself, do you know what, before, honest to God, James, I thought to myself, do you know what, before, I didn't want to do Sharpie's head, and he's only just got the manager's job, he was putting a little team together, and I was staying off work, no proper fucking doing his head in, and Colin wasn't happy. And I'd had all this at Everton, and I thought, before it goes any further, I'm retiring. How about that? To myself. I thought, you fucked it again. You're doing everyone's head in around you, me family, everyone who cares about me. So do you know what, lad? I'm retiring. And I did. I retired. I was 21. I'd had enough, James. I thought it wasn't just so much for me. It was the people around me. I was letting them down left, right and centre. Didn't mean to. It was the last thing I wanted to do was let me fucking me poor man, me dad down. All me managers, everyone who put any fucking Colin, Sharpie, everyone who put out, I just felt as though I'm going to let them all down again and I'm going to go through all that again. So I just went home. I said to me ma, do you know what, Mum? I said, I'm not going to. My ma wasn't asked. My ma wasn't bothered. She just wanted me normal. She wanted me a lad back, you know what I mean? And I said, look, I'm not going to play no more. My dad says, that it, lad? I said, that's it. He said, sound, give me a big hug. And that was it. I just thought, I can't put you all through all this. I can't keep putting you through it all, you know what I mean? Because and with the injuries and everything else, it was fucking tough, you know what I mean? It's a tough life being a footballer, James. It's not easy. You've got to sacrifice, and I mean everything, to succeed. And I did. I done it in the beginning, and as I said, I was just letting too many people down all the time. So I just walked out on Old and walked out, left my house, left everything. I just come right back to Liverpool and went right round the bend again. Just proper round the bend. I was going out, staying out, all kinds of different drugs, ecstasy tablets, fucking trips, coke, you name it, man. And I just wasn't going home. I was just, I can always remember myself saying, well, look, you've made this bed now, lads. You need to, you're going to like lie in it, you know what I mean?
Were you ever suicidal, Bill?
Sorry?
Were you ever suicidal?
Tried to take my life. Fucking another story, James. I'd had enough, mate. I got in my Mars one night. I'd been on a fucking 3-day bender, proper coke bender. Fucking, oh man, coming down off. I've got to me Mars. They were getting fed up of me now. They were just about letting me in the house. There was nothing all hours, different girls all the time in my Mars house. They'd had enough of me. So gets in there, my Mars let me in. It's about fucking 4 o'clock in the morning. She's gone back to bed, me man. And I thought I've had a fucking enough. I just couldn't stop snorting cocaine. I couldn't, as much as I wanted to. I just ended up on it. Every time I got bored or any time my phone when you coming out, I was fuck off. I was out, I was on it. And I was sick of it. So I've got in there. And my ma had this like cubby hole, like the Lecky cubby. And it was just because my ma and my ma's sisters and all that, they were all ill, no one emphysema, the smoking and all that down here. So this cupboard was absolutely chocker with different tablets for breathing, for fucking all kinds, for the chest, the lot. I've gone in there off me cake one morning, 4 o'clock, my ma just gone to bed and he ate every tablet. And my mum was there, the commotion, you know what I mean? She comes down, she's screaming, what the fuck, what have you done, Bill? She shot me dad up now, fucking next minute, there's paramedics at the door, they've took me. My chest is getting pumped in the Royal Air. They gave me fucking, they made me drink this charcoal to flush everything out, and like it sort of goes in, like into the, like a brick inside of this charcoal, and it drags, you have a poo, and it's like fucking, like a brick. Like giving fucking birth to the baby calf. So to flush you all out and all that. So we've done all that. Just absolutely terrible times, lad. Trying to so anyway, all the doctors in the Royal are asking me what have I took. Asking me ma what he took. Me ma's going, I don't know. He's just that he's at 100. I don't know what. So they wanted to know what sort of tablets I've had and all that. They were doing all tests on me and that. So you know what he said to me? This is on me ma, this. The doctor come to see me later on in the day when they found out what it actually had. The doctor said to me, you'd have lived till you were about 200, you know, you've ate all your ma's breathing tablets. Trying to fucking do myself in it and all kinds of breathing tablets, honest to God, lad. I ate all my mum's breathing tablets, just a big cry for help. It was a big cry for help, mate, but I'd really had enough, man. That's where that cocaine takes you. It brings you to your knees, mate, I'm telling you now.
And over the last 20 years, Bill, and once you retired, and do you feel like a failure as well, that you never succeeded to the heights that everybody knew you could believe? Because what's that quote? I read a quote. I think you were in a shop and you says to the guy in the shop, "Do you know who I am?" And the guy says, "No, but I know who you could have been." Or he says, "Yes, but I know who you could have been." It's your name beside the quote, which is fucking deep, man. Like you says, I think you were arguing with him.
Every day, James, over the last 30 years, mate, there's not a day that hasn't gone back that I've regretted. Not like, because I wanted to win things for Everton. I wanted to win the FA Cup. I wanted to beat Liverpool at Wembley. I wanted to play for England. I got England caps at under 21 level. I wanted to play in European Championships, just like Gerrard and Rooney and Gallagher and McManaman. My mate, he went to my school, Steve. He's one of my good mates. So I wanted to do all that, you know what I mean? So I've got major regrets. I've got hundreds of regrets, and that's one of my biggest ones. I wanted to win all kinds for Everton. I wanted to be like Kevin Ratcliffe. I wanted to win stuff, man. I wanted them European nights when I used to watch them, Everton playing Rapid Vienna and all that, mate. My life's just been full of regrets, mate, to be honest with you.
Do you think Everton could have done more for you?
See, my thing with Everton is, I should have just, at the time, there was a bad drinking culture in football, right? In the 90s, it was every club you go to, there was drinkers. There was players' lounge where you go for a drink, but Everton was another. It was another matter. It was more than just the fucking. I mean, no disrespect to Howard and that, but Howard loved the bevy, didn't he? And if you were in the first team, you'd have to have a bevy. You couldn't just go and drink an orange. You know, it's already been warned about that, or he won't like you if you fucking. Because I was just drinking a black currant and lemonade the first few times I went out with the first team. And I think it was Dave Watson, who was only messing, like, but it stuck in my head. He said, "Oh, he won't like you. You know, you better have a fucking shandy or something." You know what I mean? It always stuck in my head that. Thinking, "Oh, I better have a fucking shandy, yeah." You know what I mean? And like every other week, we'd be going somewhere, like a funeral, one of Everton's directors, loads of booze. And I remember playing away somewhere, and we were on our way home from, I think it was fucking Spurs, we'd just played away. And we've come off the motorway on the what's it called up in fucking well, it wasn't the M62 anyway. It was the other way by Aintree. We're coming through that way, and I'm thinking, where the fuck are we going? We were going to the opening night of a nightclub in Liverpool. 1 o'clock in the morning, we turns up, all the Everton and our trackies, all VIPs off. It was just stuff like that. It wouldn't happen today. Do you know what I mean? It was all with ours. It was drink, drink, drink. You know, he loved the bevy. He loved all the team to have a bevy. It was one of them. I just wanted to be one of the lads. You know what I mean?
Peer pressure.
Peer pressure. So I'm still bitter today about it because of like just sort of left me out of it. You know, being 18. You know, I should have just been left out of the boozing. Being 18, that's me now as a 48-year-old sober, thinking back on me life and me career.
Just a kid as well at 21. See, 21, even when you retired, was it still in your mind that I'm going to come back, or was that just you made up your mind?
I'd always had loads of time. When I actually made my mind up, then that was it. I really believed I wasn't going to play, and I didn't play. I didn't play for years. I went and partied. And not all the drugs. I mean, I've been everywhere. The lads and all my mates were doing well and that. And we'd be all over the Ibizas, fucking Thailand, full moon parties, Vegas. We've been absolutely everywhere, but I can't remember a thing because I was just on the bend. On the drugs, I wouldn't go nowhere about a bit of Charlie, you know what I mean?
Do you think a lot of people used you though because of the superstardom that you had at that season to then everybody want a piece of you, giving you free booze, free Charlie, free everything?
Yeah, all that. You get all that when you're in the spotlight, like you get everything free. It's all free coke and people want to be with you and sort of like have a line with you and all that, you know what I mean? I've just been getting dragged in toilets in Liverpool for 25 years to have a line with people, you know what I mean, be made up, and I'd think, oh, he's going to tell tomorrow I'm snorting last night with Billy Kenny. I knew all that was going on anyway, but as I said, I was fucking on the bends, I was out, I was drunk, and all kinds of that, mate, proper.
We always live with regret, especially with addictions, but I know your dad was a big part of your life. What age did your dad pass away, Bill?
No, my dad's still here.
Who was it, your mum that passed away?
My ma died about 8 years ago. And it's just mad, mate, because all that time when she was alive, I tried to get my head together. I tried to stop drinking. I couldn't do it. Not even for my mother, not even for myself. Fucking, all I was doing was drinking and partying and being out and about and fucking hell, like the drinking, mate. I can remember one time, listen to this, James. I always used to go to the pub in Liverpool called the Campfields to meet my uncle Rocky. He worked in town on one of the stalls. And he used to get off the bus right facing the Campfield 10 to 6 every night, and I'd have him a pint there. I'd always promised myself not to have any Charlie. Rocky never had. I was trying to wrap myself around people who didn't fucking... Trying to be like... wrap myself around people who didn't have drugs and all that at the time. So Rocky was perfect. He was dead funny. I loved Rocky. He's passed away now, bless him. So one night, the bar girl's gone, come on, it's Bill, Rocky, it's 10:30 the night, last orders, whatever. And I've got like that fucking, I'm dying for the fucking line, you know what I mean? Dying to fucking get on the Charlie. So I did the phone some, I got some. And then I'm getting to now the boozer now. So I've got on my phone like that, and now fucking Bird's numbers come up in my phone. I won't mention the name because I'm embarrassed about anyway, now fucking Bird. So phone just says, all right, yeah. Who's that? I said, it's Billy. She said, oh, fucking hell. She said, oh, you're going to be made up when you find out where I am. Anyway, long story short, she was only a madam for I fucking class prostitute fucking place in Southport. So I've gone there, fucking hell. I was there before I put the phones down, so I'll be there now, bang. Got a taxi to Southport. Gets in there, and I'm in there. Charlie, fucking Birds everywhere, fuck all on, big fridge, loads of ale, so I'm in there now partying. And there's a Scottish lad in the corner, and my phone's gone. And it's me mate from Tenerife, Foxy his name was. So I've said, all right, Fox, so the little jock in the corner's gone, Bala. Is that Foxy from the sunny side? I said, oh, you won't know him, lads. I said, just me mate. He went, no way. He said, does he know Thingy? Oh, another lad. So I said, oh, hang on. I said, Foxy, some Scottish lads want you here. One thing led to another. This Scottish lad said to me, do you fancy coming to Glasgow with me? I've been out for 2 nights now, don't forget it. And he went to fucking the local in Anfield. I'm in Southport now. So the next minute, long story short, I've ended up in the back of a Fiesta with this lunatic going to Glasgow, snorting our plums off all the way up the M6, James. I only went out for the fucking pint by my mass. I'm in Glasgow now. So we've got to by Glasgow Green, there's a boozer and all that. So I goes with this lad, Ozzy his name is. Have you heard about him? No. Thingo Orsfeld's his name is. Wanted for 2 murders in Scotland at the time, and I didn't know this. So we've got to some booze in Glasgow. And them old pubs, them old windows with the metal going through them, and you can just see outlines. And I've seen him, he's been shouted out on the doorstep, this kid who we went with. And there's fucking murder going on, you know what I mean? And I'm paranoid, me bro. I'm paranoid. What's going on here? He comes back in, he goes, Bill, come on, let's get off and all that. So I said to Morsey, what the fuck? What you brought me up here for, lads? What am I doing here? He said, no, that cheeky cunt. Said he's just put 2 in my head and I'm dead in Liverpool and I've come all the way. I said, so you've brought me all the way to fucking Glasgow to sell some lad, you're not fucking dead. You know what I mean? That's where the Charlie and the drink used to bring me. As far as Glasgow, when I go out I'd be out for a week, 2 weeks, James. Proper fucking off me barney. Anywhere, I'd go anywhere. That was one of my maddest nights, that on the air, ending up in Glasgow. And I went to the fucking boozer in Anfield.
How was it for the 25 years when you retired and you were only sniffing the booze?
Terrible. I mean, if you'd asked anyone, they'd say, oh, he's had a laugh. I always have a laugh, but deep inside, when I'd be on my own, it'd kill me. It's still today. It kills me. that what happened to me and what I thrown away, you know what I mean? But there was a part of me that like just at them times what I just spoke about when I am 18, 19 and being at Everton, I always thought if I went to another club, something different is about them, do you know what I mean? Because that's when I really started. I started really drinking when I got in Everton's first team. So for the last 25 years, I've battled with proper mental health issues, bad depression off the scale, suicidal attempts, a lot. It's been horrendous, absolutely horrendous. But in that time as well, I had 3 kids. I've got 3 kids, mate. Peggy's 21 now, Connor's 16, and Freddie's 18. They're all doing all right. And what I said to myself was, while all this was going on, the least you can do, Bill, is be a good dad to the kids. And that's what I have done. I've been a great dad, you know what I mean? I've got Father of the Year every year, honest to God. And that makes me happy, lad. That's sort of like, so I've been hands-on with it. I've raised all my kids myself. Well, obviously with the Mars, I've done a great job as well. So that's off to them, but I'm really close. Now I've got a handful. I can count my mates now on one hand, you know what I mean? I've got a good bunch of mates around me. My girlfriend's lovely. So things are like I've got a couple of business interests in the pipeline nowadays. I'm waiting to go into a few schools to tell me story and that. So after all the ups and downs, I think my life's sort of going a bit better.
Yeah.
Going a bit better, James, but it's been absolutely horrendous. Psychiatrists, rehabs. I went to another rehab in 10 years ago. My family paid for me to go to a rehab in Johannesburg. And that was about 12, 13 years ago, that was. And I've been clean now for about, well, I used that program. It was a very good program up there. They'd all been addicts. They'd all been where we'd been with mental health and that, so they knew the score, you know what I mean? It was very powerful, the program out there. And I used that program now. And I've been clean now off the cocaine since my ma died, which was 8 years ago. I've had a couple of bevies. I've had no Charlie. I've had a couple of Guinnesses and that's about it, mate. So hopefully the corner is turning for me, you know.
What was the moment for you to really go, right, I need to get my shit together? Obviously, we get hundreds and hundreds of chances, thousands of chances, but there's always that moment you go, right, I'm going to give it everything now, I need to make changes.
Do you know what it was, James? It was a mixture of stuff. It was like when my ma died, as I said to you before, my mum died, and it was in the campfields. We had a drink, you know, the way you bury them, and like you go back and have a bevy because of it and all that. It was in there. All my mates were there. There was hundreds there, all come to support me and my family and that. It was great. And I've been out. My ma had been sick for a few years, so when she was really bad, I was out for 2 weeks solid. No kip, no fuck all. Didn't give a fuck. My ma was dying. And when we buried her that night, I just for somehow, I put my drink down on the bar, and I walked out. I said to my bird, right, that's it, I've had enough. And I never touched the drink for 8 years. No rehab, no counselling, no fuck all. I don't know how I was on it. I blame me ma, you know what I mean? It must have been because I tried all my life to do, and it just come natural. It just had enough. I don't know. I couldn't put my finger on what made me do it or I was on it. I just couldn't tell you that. I just think it was my ma, mate. That's all. The only excuse I can come up with is my ma was looking out for me. Because if it didn't, I wouldn't be sitting here now. You put it that way. I was in a terrible state when my ma was dying 8 years ago. I was dying myself. I wasn't asked whether I lived or died, to be honest with you. And my kids, you grow up as well, don't you? My kids are adults now, and they've never seen me on drugs because they were only young, you know what I mean? So for the last 8 years, I've been clean, lad. And but I tell you what, man, it's been been some ride, mate. It's ruined my life. The drugs has ruined my life, you know. The alcohol, drugs, ruined your life.
What's your plans moving forward for the future, Bill?
My plans now for the future is it's first and foremost to stay clean and sober, James, and I've got as I said, I've got a couple of business interests coming up and that, and I'm just waiting to my mate. Some fella's been on me about the mental health side. He wants me to go into he's just waiting for the thumbs up on 50 schools I can go in to speak to, and I'm just I should have done it years ago, but obviously I was still using, and like I've got a lot of experience in terms of mental health, and I need to get to these school kids and get my story and my point across to these school kids because they need it, because we're losing generations of kids.
And talent as well.
And talent, it's just going down the Swanee, picking that first spliff up or having a bit of peer pressure off your mates and that. And it can be as easy as that. It can just be as easy as that. Starts off with the old spliff, doesn't it? Or the ciggy. You know, you see your mates over there buying ciggies when you're in school and all that. You want to be one of the boys and all that. Well, them days should be finished now, you know.
Yeah.
And so that's the road I want to go down. I want to just give a bit back. It's overdue, like, but I'm ready. I'm strong enough. I'm up for it. I can't wait to get cracking on it, you know.
But that's a good thing. What about getting a book out, documentary?
Well, I'm doing a book now. It's funny as you mentioned that, James. I don't know how long it's going to fucking be like, because every time I do a couple of lines, I'm fucking snorting. No, but I've got a little author on board, Andy Nichols. He's a great lad. He's done a few books now, and we're just trying to do something. I've been writing a book since Christmas last year, and it's taken its time, but there's so much to write, James. There's just so much bollocks that's gone on down the years, and it's my last throw of the dice, really. Yeah, and I want it right, you know what I mean? So when it's ready, sort of thing. There's no, like, thing you want it, but I think it'll do well. And that's the part of the story I want to get across to these kids. Like, look what happened to me, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's all different. It's little different things get in your life and that, and you've got to be strong, mate, and listen to you. The best advice I can give these kids is just to listen to your parents, your mum and dad, and that ends off. Your mum, your dad, your sisters, or your brothers, and that's it, mate. Mm-hmm. And that's it. That's the best advice, is listen to you. And your ma's always right. Your ma's the one who's always right.
For anybody that's maybe battling with addiction just now, Bill, what advice would you give for them?
Addiction. Just find, there's always someone to on the end of a phone there. If you're struggling and going through bad times, you need to first and foremost tell people about it. Don't keep it in. Don't fucking bottle it up and all that, because it will be too late. You need to speak to someone. I know it's hard, because the worst thing is as well when you're using is to talk about it. And to tell anyone, oh, I've just had the line, or I'm still drinking and I'm doing all this. You don't want to tell no one that. But and then if you don't, you'll still suffer. You'll just sit there and suffer. So you need to get out, get into these meetings and that, speak to someone and take it from there, mate. Them meetings help as well, the AA meetings and the CA meetings and that. I've done a few of them down the years. They do help you. And just don't pick that first bevy up, that first spliff, that first line, because you'll need 1,000.
Yeah, it's scary though.
You'll need 1,000, mate, and it'll bring you exactly to the same place as before, to your knees, jail, fucking been to jail as well. I ended up in jail.
What for?
For driving, drink driving.
That's what I was in for.
Drink driving, mate, honest to God, fucking, and that's the life it brings you, mate. You don't have to go out and drink and to enjoy yourself. I've only just found that out now. 48 years of age, you know what I mean? But it's experience. That's something I can tell the kids, you know. Just, I don't know, you're supposed to enjoy yourself. I mean, some people like having a bevy and doesn't ruin your life, you know. But addiction, if you say it'll grab fucking 1 out of 10 people, and that happened to be me.
Yeah, it's a scary place to be.
It would grab me, you know what I mean? But as I said, if I can help a couple of kids, Jay, from going down my road, then I'll be happy.
Yeah,
I'll be
you've got the life experience, Bill. You've lived it.
Yeah.
Like I say, no matter you still played for Everton, your dreams did come true. Yes, you fucking hit the obstacles and the wobbles along the way, but you're not dead, man. Like, you can learn from your life experiences to then help other people, which is an amazing thing. Going round schools, going and speak to the kids that play football. That to get an addiction at 19, you've got the world at your feet. To then get an addiction at 19 shows you that there's no age limits to when a disease can kick in where you're bang on it.
Absolutely not, mate. That's right. Yeah, I've got a lot to tell these kids, and I just can't wait to get cracking, mate, because it's a terrible thing, addiction, and in this country, I don't think they do enough. I don't think they're on it, James.
Yeah, don't give a
You
fuck.
go to doctors, mate.
It's more
They only
pills.
know what they've read up on. Do you know what I mean? I had to go to South Africa, mate, for someone I could relate to someone talking to me who'd done everything, who'd been an addict, and that's where I had to go. And this NHS in this country, or these doctors, they haven't stayed out and snorted cocaine for 2 days. Not one of them. Well, you know what I mean? They've never fucking had been on a bender. These doctors around here, these psychiatrists and all that, they just haven't done it. They just know what they've read up at, the feelings you get, and the anxieties and all that, and the addictions and the shite going through your head. They don't know.
Yeah.
They just say, right, what's up? We're okay. We'll prescribe you them. Go and eat them.
But you're in a good place now, feeling better.
I'm in a better place now. It's the best I've felt for a few years now, James. After losing my man, it took me ages getting over that. I still think about it every day. But yeah, I'm positive. I'm waking up positive. I've got stuff on. I've got a meaning. I've got something to do now. I've got something to give back in this life now. And I'm excited about it. It's like making my debut again, lad.
Good
I
on you.
can't wait to help people out, you know. And I swear to God, man, I'm going to give it to them. Like proper raw, mate. And that's it. Here's what you're not supposed to do. You need to listen, mate. And drum it into these kids, man. Even the ones that don't listen, because they're the ones that ends up fucking on it.
Yeah, but
The ones who are not listening to you.
like I say, you've got the life experience. This is just a new chapter of your life, and for anybody that's maybe watching, like, you get involved with Bill as well. Maybe take him round schools, man, and speak to the kids. But for coming on and telling your story, brother, I thoroughly enjoyed that. It's
Oh, thanks, Jay.
it's how you feeling about it?
I'm feeling absolutely relieved. It's it over now? It's all over.
Brother,
Thanks a lot.
listen, no, thank
Look,
you.
can I give a big shout out to
Of course you can.
Jockey, me mate there with the San Jalapeno stuff,
Yeah.
Ball Street in Liverpool.
Perfect, brother.
Quality gear.
Yeah.
Just go in and say, Jockey, Billy sent me, and you get them for the tenner. How's that, Jockey?
Cheers.